Welcome everyone. Welcome Nate.
Hey,
This,
Jack.
how you doing? Beautiful sunny afternoon in Arizona on Wednesday, May 20th. So this video, we will go over the fund performance for Q1 of 2020. Now, just a note to you all, if you are following along, you don't need to keep notes because we're going to accompany this video with a letter to limited partners that articulates the same information. And moving forward, we are working on architecting a more formal quarterly reporting template so that we can be familiar with this same format for the next 7 years. So with that said, let's jump into our report. We're going to cover 6 topics here. The general highlights. So in Q1, we launched the fund. We completed all the paperwork. So thank you guys, everybody, for going through that with us. We also engaged with Redwood. Redwood has allowed each of you investors to have your own online dashboard where you can access all of the stuff that we're about to deliver to you today. And then it also has really been powerful for us to get the timeliness of and accuracy of accounting so that we can deliver reporting like this to you guys. So let's jump right into the capital update. Currently, as of March 31st, 2020, we have raised and deployed $4,185,000 across 4 parks with a current stated value of just over $6.6 million. The current debt on the portfolio is just over $1.4 million, which represents 21% of the portfolio. And the current appreciation that exists in the portfolio is just over $1 million, which represents about 16% of the portfolio. So at this point, I'm going to hand the baton to Nate. And Nate, why don't you talk about the parks and the portfolio and how we're doing there?
Yeah, thanks, Jack. In general, capital improvement plan is working. We continue to outperform projections over the quarter, which is great. And in general, the number one thing that I was really concerned, the most important thing I was concerned about this quarter was how the parks and our residents were going to respond to COVID. And it's worked extremely well. I'm very happy with how we've implemented the plan and how it's going. So let's talk park by park. There's 4 of them that we're going to touch on. Park number 1, the Oasis Gardens down in Yuma. We're aggressively raising rents there. We're far below market, and I believe if we execute on our plan in the off season here, Q2, Q3, with our management team, add some additional amenities that our residents are going to really like to see, it's going to allow me to continue to push rents even further than I expected, quicker than I expected in my projections. We're going to be adding some really cool stuff down there: bocce ball courts, barbecue areas, free Wi-Fi at the park, and a couple of the areas up front. So every year, I really like to have some new things that are going to impress our residents when they get back. So as soon as they hit the ground, they know that those rent increases that I implemented are going towards cool stuff that they're going to really like. I'm excited about that park, excited about the way that we're going. Right now, April through September is when we're pushing really hard. That's when we have next to no residents at the park. And something else that was really cool that happened about a month and a half, 2 months ago, was we brought in a new management team. It's a management team that I had some experience with before. I brought them down to the park. They're going to be a huge asset to the park. I love working with them. I love their approach. They've got some business ownership experience, so they get revenues and expenses and growing NOI and getting creative. So they're going to be a huge asset. Really excited about the direction of that park moving forward. Park 2, Central Park Estates down in Sierra Vista. These, of all the parks in the portfolio, these residents were hit the hardest with COVID. Their jobs were such that they were out working in industries that got hit, residents, restaurants, places like that. So that park, we've got some residents in our COVID rent deferral program, our CRD program that we created, and it's working like hotcakes down there. It's great. We've got a few residents, 5 residents in the program. But what's cool is we've actually graduated a couple out of the program because we're able to help them find jobs in the community, or we're able to help them find organizations that could help them pay the rent and help them keep themselves on their feet. So we graduated a couple out of the program, which made way for a couple additional to come in because things changed for them. But the goal was to keep the impact as minimal as possible And we are absolutely doing that considering the type of park and the residents that we got there. So I'm really excited. Our biggest focus right now is continuing to rehab homes. We've got a ton of interest in selling homes. We sold 3 homes in the last 2.5 months. And we've got a lot of people asking about when the next homes are going to be coming on the market. So my biggest problem is inventory right now. Our rehab team has been down. They've been out of commission. I'm hoping to get them back in the next 1.5 to 2 weeks. We're going to be cranking through some more homes. We've got people on the waiting list, and I want to sell those homes, turn that money right back around, and do some more work down there to grow top line revenue. We're transitioning into a new management team there as well. So the old manager, we're growing her into more of a corporate role to help us on the fund and some of the other cool stuff that we're doing here at the company. My maintenance gentleman went down the road, got himself another job, which is good. So I'm going to be replacing that team. And the folks that we've been hired there have a ton of experience working with really big parks. So they're going to handle this one really well, do some home sales there too. They're going to be a huge asset. So we're really upping the game from our team on the ground, which makes or breaks a park. And I'm very careful at who we bring on there. So Park 3, Santa Rita Heights, down in Sahuarita, just south of Tucson, really cool park. And this park has experienced a lot of the similar stuff that we've seen at Central Park Estates. We've sold 3 homes there over the last 2.5 to 3 months, which blew my expectations out of the water. Those homes got sold within weeks of them going on the market, which is a testament to the work that we're doing down there, the brand that we have and how we operate, our management structure, all of our processes, and the improvements that we're making out in the community. It helps that we're 25% below the market in rents, but what my goal is going to be there to do is to continue to steadily make improvements to the park, bring people in, which is going to allow me to push rents really hard there, because everywhere else that they're going to go, they're not going to get the experience. Those residents those owners aren't investing back into the park, which is going to keep this park full, which is exactly what we want. Park 4, Melody Court, down in Yuma. Half seasonal, half full-time residents. This park has been quiet, smooth sailing for the last 4 or 5 months, which is not my style. I like to get in there and I like to shake things up. I like to rehab homes. I like to make a mess. I like to let everybody know that we're investing in the community. I haven't been able to do that as much as I want to because our rehab team, again, has been down. So when I get them back, they're going to be balancing between Central Park Estates, Melody Court. We're going to be getting homes ready to go and getting them ready to sell. I did try over the last 3 months to replace them on a temporary basis with another team. And I don't have a problem telling everybody on this call that it was a bit of a fail. It took way longer than I wanted, cost me a little bit more money than I wanted, and it took way more oversight than I expected. So needless to say, they're not going to be working with us anymore, but the outcome is I got a couple homes that I can put on the market. So those are going on the market in a couple of weeks. This isn't the prime time to sell because most of the snowbirds have left. They'll be coming back in October, but I'm going to put them out and I'm going to try to sell them. And, with any luck, we'll get them sold before everybody comes back, which is going to allow me some time over the next 3 or 4 months before October comes to bring some inventory online and get it ready to rock and roll when our residents are coming back. And the city and the town of Yuma is really growing, and that population has doubled, and they're looking to buy for the season. So I'm going to roll right into fun performance, Jack. Let's touch on Q1 performance. In general, we overperformed in Q1 by quite a bit, actually. This was due to higher than expected occupancy at Oasis Gardens, higher than expected occupancy at Melody Court, and at Central Park Estates. So that top line revenue was great. We sold some homes more than we expected. This is all good stuff for top line revenue across the board. And with that said, I want everybody to understand that typically in Q2 and Q3, we do see a bit of a dip. And that's by design because Oasis Gardens carries quite a bit of our revenue, and our residents leave during that Q2, Q3 period. So the weekly, monthly, daily traffic for RVs dies down. That picks back up in October and November. So Q1 and Q4 are our heavy months. although we've designed this in a way that allows for our revenue stream to be much more stable versus huge dips and valleys in that revenue, just because of that was our goal and what we were trying to achieve. So we'll see some impact, but not a ton. So let's talk on distributions. So with the overachieving in Q1, that gives us a total net distributable income of $117,298. What that means to our investors is that we'll easily be able to distribute to the preferred return of 1.5% in Q1, which is equivalent to a 6% return over the entire year. We'll have some additional cash flow there that will come back to us, a little bit of a catch up as a thank you to us for all of our hard work. So really excited about that. And we're hitting the button on ACH payments. This is sometimes the first payment for some of you guys here in the fund. So allow a little bit of time here for that ACH to work out between our two banks. But that cash is coming back for that distribution in Q1, and it's coming pretty soon.
Okay, well, thank you, Nate, for that. Let's roll into talking about acquisitions. So as most of you guys know, our strategy for acquiring parks is to work directly with owners. So we don't typically wait for brokers to send properties to us for us to analyze that. We spend our time, and I spend most of my time, building relationships with owners of parks that we'd like to buy, but they're not for sale. And right now, currently, there's 3 other owners outside of the ones that we're working on that are expressing the idea, or we're having those conversations about a sale. We'd like to see us be able to acquire the balance of parks to fill up the fund in the next 12 to 18 months. So expect us to be aggressive there. Now, with that said, we do have park number 5 in escrow. Now, that one has certainly been delayed by COVID. And I expect that there's going to be some further delays since this guy is out of town and he's an older gentleman, and there's some things there that are probably going to cause us to delay this. And we'll share the timing of that when we have a little bit more clarity. But for those of you who don't kind of get to hear from Nate's asset manager chair, like what he sees in a park like this. Now, first of all, this is a 49 space park. It's right here in the Phoenix metro area, which is really difficult to find. It's 90% occupied. It's actually in pretty good shape, and it's cash flowing at a rate that will probably deliver the preferred return right out of the gate. So Nate, why don't you share from your asset management chair, like what you see in a park like this and what gets you excited about it?
Yeah, I can't wait to get my hands on this one, Jack. So there's a couple different, from an asset management chair, there's a couple different kinds of parks that, we're going to typically approach to purchase and put into the fund. One is a heavy lifting park that requires a bunch of capital improvements, ground team, doing construction, rehabbing homes, creating value that way. The other kind, which is more of a management play, which is what we have here. It's a very well-established park, 55 plus community, senior community, which allows for that revenue stream to be much more, what's the word I'm looking for, recession resistant. It's going to be great for me on the capital improvement side. Don't have a lot of capital improvements. In addition to that, we've got a couple of homes that we're going to have to work on. We've got just a couple pads that are empty, but this is about me moving rents that are 25% below market, improving the cash flow on the bottom end by shaving some of the expenses. The owner's a classic owner out of state. He's run the park really well. It looks really good. It's operating pretty well, but he's just not maximizing the value. So when I get my hands on that, it's going to be a great property for the fund.
Okay, Nate, thank you for sharing that. A few closing notes. You guys, if you want to access your Redwood dashboard, you can do that either through the link that I just gave you on this email that you just received, or you can always access that through our resources page on our website. There's a button right there where you can access that. So in there, while we do these distributions, you're going to see the financials attached, and you're also going to see this letter that kind of outlines the information we've shared on this video. So thank you, Nate, and thanks to everybody. This will conclude our video for Q1 2020.
Thanks, Jack. Thanks, guys.